So Crowder is back. He had to do an interview in the last segment. He is back in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I'm at Hollywood Kia. Solana is with me. Josh Appel usually joins us on Mondays at Twin Peaks, but you were traveling, so he has stopped by for an hour here at Hollywood Kia. I see Jimmy and Dan in the studios in El Portal. We have a cast of thousands. How'd the interview go, Crowder? Everything went okay?
Yeah, it was good. They actually bumped me. They told me get dressed and said, "Oh, no, we don't need you."
Do you have a little Dolphins talk on Inside the NFL tonight?
Yeah, they talk about the celebration. Yeah, the game wasn't
the roller coaster. Gotcha.
Yeah. So we talk about that.
Good selling.
It's what we talked about. It's like you're that good, you know you're going to score. So let's think about the second act of scoring and the good celebration. So yeah, Dolphins are good.
Mr. 305. Dale. God bless.
Dale.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome, and congrats to Jim Leland for making the Baseball and Basketball Hall of Fame.
If you've been listening to our radio station today, we have a promo running every hour that says, "Congratulations, Jim Leland, for making the Basketball Hall of Fame." And I said to Tree, either that's a mistake or a huge surprise. It's definitely one of the two. Jimmy, I see you're wearing an Inter Miami jersey. Is that for Luis Suarez?
No, Jersey Tuesday.
All right, just checking. Is that why you're wearing your Heat jersey?
Yeah, for Luis Suarez.
Very good.
Yeah.
His Abbotsford Heat jersey.
So Luis Suarez, Appel, signing with the Inter Miami Herons.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm a big Gremio fan.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We've covered it extensively on this show. What do you think? So Appel is here. We're going to get headlines with Solana. We didn't have Appel yesterday. He had done the Patriots-Chargers game. And so he was sleeping yesterday. He slept through. He fell asleep during the game.
Well, that's actually why I didn't show up at Twin Peaks yesterday.
And he slept all the way through Monday. He just woke up. He woke up in the press box at Foxborough. Now, what was that game like? I mean, I'm guessing you almost couldn't even believe what you're watching because you're not watching any offense.
I somewhat expected that out of New England. The Chargers defense played well the week prior against Baltimore. So I expected them to kind of build on that against a really bad Patriot offense in bad weather. Bailey Zappi, Ramondre Stevenson got hurt in the first quarter. So after that, you just kind of figure there's nothing here for New England. I'm most surprised that the Chargers offense, couldn't do anything against a secondary for New England that's rated as one of the worst in the league. And you could talk about the rain, you could talk about the drops, but hey, 6 points, it was dreadful. They just were flat out not good. They got a win. It's the fewest points that the Chargers have had in a win in their franchise history.
Wow.
Yeah, it was certainly a football game that took place.
And did I see this stat right? The Patriots dropped to 1-3 this season when their opponents score less than 10 points in a game.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Teams in the NFL this year are 50-3 when allowing 10 points or less. The Patriots have all 3 losses.
Hey, Josh, am I going overboard? I think this is some of the worst offense I've watched in the NFL in a long time. I'm talking about a number of teams, 15 or 20 of them, just don't have offense.
I think a lot of that has to do at this point in the season, like half the starting quarterbacks in the league feels like they're hurt.
But Tua was the fragile one. Keep laughing, NFL.
Funny how that happens, huh?
Mm.
No, I'm with you, though. I mean, scoring for the most part has been down. Although I do wonder if, like, for us down here, because of the offense that we get to watch every week.
I think Appel, because I was going to say the same thing, Crowder. I think we are so spoiled watching an offense click that anything that doesn't look like the Dolphins offense.
Like, what sport is this?
Like, what are they doing out there? So they just no motion and they're just kind of throwing it. Yeah, it's the offense Stephen A. Smith thought that he was watching with the Dolphins, except that he wasn't. I just think in comparison, Crowder, I think our offense is so good that everything pales in comparison.
Yeah, I could see that, but it's still, man, like the Jets, I could go through probably 20 teams that don't have a chance to put 2 touchdowns on the board.
I saw something on Twitter yesterday about the Jets offense. It is the worst offense by EPA, expected points added, since they've been keeping track of this since 2000. They're like 700 and something. And there's like 6 other Jets offenses since 2000 that are also part of this list as the lowest rated ones. I mean, it tells you all you need to know that they thought Tim Boyle was going to make things slightly better than Zach Wilson. Oh, wait, he's never been good at any level in his entire life. And that went poorly. Trevor Siemian at this point in his career, not an NFL quarterback. So what do they do today? They go sign Brett Rippon, who also has been terrible in his NFL career. So, I mean, that feels like they're in their own category in with the Jets right now.
And I watched Joe Flacco run out the back of the end zone. It's
Hey, I'll tell you what though, those first 3 quarters, man, Joe Flacco was slinging it. He was playing well for 3 quarters.
Imagine hearing the sentence in 2023. Joe Flacco was slinging it.
I couldn't even move.
What station did I tune into? What year is this? What kind of car? What happened? Let's do headlines. Let's do headlines with Solana because I want to talk with Josh about the college football playoffs and the Dolphins and a whole bunch of stuff. So let's get headlines here with Alejandro Solana, who was hoping and praying that Josh Appel would have said Brett Ripien.
Accurate. This sports update driven by the
He said Ripien earlier in the show. We called him out on it. And I know he was like kind of hoping like maybe they got it wrong. I got it right. And we knew you were about to say Ripien. And he was hoping and praying it was going to come out Ripien.
So they ended up ripping you?
Hey, that's really good.
So they ended up ripping you? That would have been better.
It's a clever joke.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, don't give him a sound effect.
Jimmy, you liked that, right? That was a good joke, Jimmy.
I loved it.
Yeah, that's
actually big from Jimmy because he's been disapproving of my antics recently.
That's true. That's true. But he calls it like he sees it. Jimmy's incapable of telling an untruth.
The sports update is driven by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Supercenter. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford, we know trucks. There actually are a couple Dolphins nuggets since we last did headlines. Mike McDaniel spoke to the media. Jerome Baker, remember, he got taken out by Brandon Jones. He will not go on the injured reserve list.
Oh,
per Mike McDaniel, he
Good
did
news.
confirm that he suffered a non-surgical MCL injury.
all right.
And Robert Hunt is week to week. He re-aggravated his hamstring injury, and they expect him to miss some time.
Okay.
That's a knock, no. He does all the coverage in that linebacking core. So I'm going to see how old Fangio adjusts.
Robert Hunt or Jerome Baker?
Joe Baker.
Robert Hunt hasn't been bad, though.
No. He's been great. But I was going to I wanted to say, we've, myself especially, I've ripped Liam Eichenberg on this show before.
He's been great.
The job that Butch Barry has done with this offensive line and the backups coming in and playing well. Talk about Kendall Lamb earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Keon Smith was really good on Sunday. Eichenberg's turned into a serviceable player, and Jackson was the highest graded Dolphin on Sunday. Did I steal that from you?
Highest graded tackle in the NFL per Pro Football Focus in Week 13.
Once again, imagine hearing that in 2023. Austin Jackson, the highest graded tackle in the NFL.
Right. I thought you were talking about the car that drove
wait
by.
a second. You're telling me Joe Flacco is slinging it, and Austin Jackson's the highest graded tackle in the NFL.
And Tua is the healthiest quarterback.
Tua is the healthiest quarterback.
And the Dolphins on December 5th, control their own destiny.
Unbelievable.
In the AFC. I have been waiting my entire life for these statements.
Entire life? It's really unbelievable. It really is.
He's done last 3 are held them. Cowboys, Ravens,
Yeah, hell for them.
Thank you. Crowder is just no guts at all with this team, Crowder.
Hey, look.
Hey, there's Ocho.
Hey, tell Chad that I tried to talk to him at your party, but I don't think it went very well.
He's running out to get a flight.
He was good on the Manning cast yesterday also.
He was good.
Very good.
Yeah.
And Ocho Cinco was very good also.
Hey, ask Chad if he's done with that shirt that he wore Saturday night, because I'll take it.
I think it was expensive as hell. I made fun of it.
I'm going to use it as a sheet, actually. It was bigger than my bed.
It was a large outfit.
It was a very large outfit.
This is interesting. According to ESPN Deportes, the Dolphins 2024 opener could be played in Brazil.
Really?
Yeah. It's not official yet. No word yet from the NFL.
So this is like a Luis Suarez thing. We're gonna start hearing about this every month.
Well, I thought it was pretty cool. Have your season opener in South America for the first time.
That's my guy.
He said, "That's my guy." Them boys working.
I mean, you are literally in a closet, right? Like just the way that you could hear the door close. I mean, obviously we see the racks of clothes behind you, but like the way you are you literally situated in a clothes closet?
A little dressing room. That's Ted's rack. That's my rack.
That is excellent.
Ryan has his own big room. They don't like us as much.
He's the host. He's the host.
Yeah.
So Hard Knocks tonight, episode 3. We are going to see also Inside the NFL tonight. Both will show us a behind-the-scenes look at the touchdown celebration from their first touchdown the other day.
Yeah, I loved it. Very cool.
Yeah.
So because the Bengals lost yesterday to the Jags, the Jags lost to the Bengals 34-31 in overtime. The Dolphins do control their own destiny. And Trevor Lawrence, the update there, looked really bad yesterday, but it's just a high ankle sprain, and he's not expected to miss significant time.
All right.
Can I say something about the Jags really quick? Because they were 8-3 going into last night's game. They beat the Bills earlier in the season, overseas in London. But outside of that, there aren't any impressive wins on this resume for Jacksonville. And I had this thought at the end of the game, and I sent it in our group text, Hawk. If the Dolphins were in the same spot, and the Dolphins had given up 34 points at home in prime time, and a 350-yard performance, 2 touchdowns to Jake Browning, I can only imagine what would be said about this team today. Because I remember leading into this game that the talk about the Jags was that, oh, this team, this might be the one in the AFC. They're playing so well. And they come out and they lay an egg against Jake Browning last night. And he deserves credit, of course. But my thought at the end of the game was, I wonder what the narrative would be. And I hate that my mind went to this.
Imagine Tua putting up 6 points.
Right,
like
Justin Herbert
the game the game that you watched on Sunday. Like there is a weird disconnect with what goes on. Although I will say I'm not certain. I've asked Crowder this a number of times. In fact, a number of guests. I keep saying, who's the cream of the crop in the AFC? And I always include Jacksonville. Baltimore, Jacksonville.
They're good. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying that like everybody loves to poke holes in the Dolphins.
But I don't. But I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Crowder. I think the Dolphins have been talked about as a possible Super Bowl contender, and I don't think Jacksonville has received that kind of praise this season, while still putting up an 8-3 record going into last night.
What they're doing is they're beating up on terrible teams in their own division. That AFC South is trash. So they're beating up Tennessee and playing the Colts led by Gardner Minshew. And that's why the Dolphins, to be honest, the Jets and the Patriots aren't that good either. So I think you can't criticize a team for beating up their own division and about to win the division. I think they're the same way, but the Dolphins are way better than Jacksonville.
Yeah. Jags are the Lions in the AFC and the Lions in the NFC, where they're a really good team. You're not taking credit away from them. They're going to make the playoffs. They're not. The Lions aren't beating the Eagles. They're not beating the Niners. The same way the Jags aren't beating the Dolphins in the playoffs. They're not beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't trust those guys. The defense is, especially Detroit's. We talked about it, I think, a couple weeks ago here. Yep. Those 2 defenses I don't trust. I trust their offenses. They got skill. They can score. You need defense in the playoffs, and I don't think those 2 teams have it.
Crowder, do the Titans scare you at all? Like if the Dolphins were to play them in the first round, do the Titans scare you at all? Not the Titans,
not at all.
Excuse me, the Texans. The Texans.
You know what? The Texans are they're better than the Jags and all those guys. Texans can play. Think about it. They have Stingley. They have Will Anderson. They have C.J. Stroud, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He doesn't have great weapons, but they have enough. The Texans scare me way more than a lot of teams. AFC would be. The Chiefs are always going to be good. Who else? The Baltimore Ravens. Those are teams that I'd be worried about.
We completely out on the Bills?
Yeah.
Are we like we're done with the Bills?
Crowder's not.
Bro, Josh Allen gets cooking, man. Stephon Diggs, them boys can play.
That's kind of what I was thinking, Josh. Like at the end of the season, like could this just be an extended lull, and then you get to the end of the season and all of a sudden Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs look like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs?
Maybe they do turn it around and resemble more of what we saw at the beginning of the year in previous seasons, but they have so many injuries, especially defensively. I don't see them as the threat that maybe people thought they were, and I thought they were at the beginning of the year, only because of the guys that they're missing on the defensive side of the ball.
I have a great point here from a friend of mine, Ron Caniok, who listens to the show, a friend of mine via text. He says the Dolphins cannot open in Brazil because the Super Bowl champion opens on Thursday night at home. Huh? So take it back, Solana.
All right.
They cannot open in Brazil.
Shove it, ESPN Deportes.
Speaking of the Super Bowl, you know who does terrify me? The 49ers. That team is good.
They look like they're clicking again.
Yes.
They seem to have it together again.
Can we chill out a bit with Brock Purdy as the MVP? I mean, he's playing great, but MVP front runner after last week?
He's throwing the ball 6 yards, and Debo and Kittle
saying.
are taking it 70, but he still gets 300 yards a game passing.
He's playing great football. MVP front runner? I'm not so certain.
The best player on that team is Christian McCaffrey anyways.
Right.
To me, he's the MVP candidate on that offense before Purdy.
Who would you have? We talked about this yesterday. Who would you have on the Dolphins? Who's the Dolphins MVP? Tua or Tyreek?
I think that the Dolphins MVP is Tua, but I think Tyreek, if he gets over 2,000, would be probably more in contention for MVP than Tua would be. I think Tua kind of played himself out of it. With
Crowder's point is Tyreek is better at his position than Tua is at his position. So Tyreek would get the nod.
I agree with that, but I also think that if you take Tyreek off this offense, there might be a drop-off, but I'm not sure, like, long-term the drop-off would be as big as it was if you take Tua out of the offense over a longer period of time.
Yeah. That's why MVP, like the value of a player, is weird because he's better than him, but he's more valued than him. Just like you said,
Right.
I agree with that too. It's a weird thing. Basketball, football, we do this with every sport. Take LeBron off the Lakers. Hell, take LeBron off out of his house. His house is going to be worse than it is.